Year is 2022 and university had just started, but 1 week later, I already want to quit. My dream was always to be my own boss and to achieve financial freedom, and I understand that getting a normal job for me isn't the way to go. I'm fully bought into the idea of starting an online business, yet I just can't get myself to do it. I procrastinate on it for like 3 months, and this isn't just your, okay, I'll do it later type procrastination. This is every single day I have nothing else to do, yet I still can't get myself to fucking start. I'm not doing any of my college work because I know that I'm going to drop out. I'm not doing any sports because I'm injured. And I still can't get any work done. And it's all because of this equation. Us as humans, we have a very, very good understanding of what's worth it for us. If I wanted to go to the toilet right now, it would only take 1 minute and I would feel much better afterwards. That's obviously like a good equation to take. But if I told you to go run a marathon right now, even though you could probably do it if your life depended on it, you'd be like, why the fuck would I do that? I have better things to spend my time doing. It all comes down to this. If we value the thing that we get more than the thing that we have to sacrifice to get the thing, we're going to do it. You'd probably have to waste a lot of time and energy in order to run the marathon, and you wouldn't really get that much out of it. Following this line of thinking, for me, I knew that I wanted the output. No matter what, I knew that I wanted the output, so why wasn't I able to simply do the thing? To beat procrastination, I knew that I wanted to start making money with an online business. It was no question for me. If someone told me I had to work tirelessly for 5 years, I would still do it. And there's 2 reasons why we don't go through with these equations. First reason is that they're simply untrue. That's option A. You know that the output is just not greater than the input. We understand that we'd have to sacrifice a bunch and it's not worth it for us. That's why you don't feel pulled to run a marathon right now. But for me, back then, this wasn't the case. If someone told me that I had to work tirelessly for 3 years, 12 hours every day in order to achieve financial freedom through online business, I would have done it. I didn't care about the sacrifice I had to make. The reason I couldn't get myself to do it is because my subconscious knew that I couldn't. It was because of option B. It was unrealistic for me. It was just as if I told you to jump up right now and you'd get 64 diamonds. That's not a real equation. And for me, putting in a few months or years of work to get this lifestyle that I wanted simply wasn't a realistic expectation. But you might say that, hold on, that is like much more realistic than jumping and getting 64 diamonds. Some people have already done that, maybe in an even shorter time frame than I attempted to, so why couldn't I even get myself to start? It's all because of the confidence lie. Every single thing that you do, no matter who you tell, no matter who you try to impress, no matter why you do it, you see it. Every single decision you've made in your whole entire life was documented by the observer inside of you, by your consciousness, essentially. This is how you create your identity. This is why pretty much everyone has a self-love problem nowadays, because every single time you've done someone wrong or you've done yourself wrong, you remember. Even if there's no one to observe, especially when there's no one to observe. When you say you'll do someone a favor, your brain already knows that you fucking won't do it because you don't have a track record of doing it. The reason we have so many mental health disorders and confidence issues and all of this shit is because we have this perception of us in our mind's eye that we're not that big. We remember all of our L's. And the thing is, when we do get a rare W, we blow it the fuck up. We're like, yeah, we're kings, and we tell everyone about it. But we don't tell everyone about our failures, about the shady things that we did, about the times we let ourselves or even them down. Every time you run 4.2 kilometers and you tell your bro that you did 4.5, your brain already knows that you're a fucking liar. Law number 7 of the book Diary of a CEO is never sacrifice self-story. In this chapter, Stephen Bartlett tells a story about the time he interviewed Chris Eubank Jr. and how he took the beating of his lifetime. He got in the ring with a guy who was knowingly in a big weight class than him and so much better than him, but he didn't pussy out. He didn't leave the ring, even though he knew very well that he was about to get his ass handed to him. He didn't pussy out because he knew that he could never sacrifice his self-story. If he had left the ring, his mind would have come up with this type of excuse in the future. You're a type of person to quit. You're a type of person that's not able to face adversity. And he lost the fight, of course he did. But after that, his thinking changed forever. His brain started telling him that we've been through worse. My problem was that although I really wanted the output, I really wanted the money, the fame, and everything that comes with a successful online business, I told myself to lock in. I told my brain that this is what we're going to do, and my brain was simply like, no, we can't do that. We're nowhere near. We don't have the identity to do that. My brain was telling me that our identity is someone who doesn't even fucking start on what he promises. And now, 3 years later, when I've gone through a lot of tougher shit, my brain responds to this with, sure, okay, let's go. And even though I still don't have the self-story that I want to, I still make fucking hollow promises. I've improved a lot in this, and I want to help you as well. The truth is, you don't build confidence by shouting in the mirror affirmations and faking it for yourself. You build confidence by stopping these fake public W's and taking losses in private and switching it around, taking actual W's in private, which will show in public. The biggest question your identity is putting up for you every single moment of your life is, are we who we say we are? And not only say it verbally, but are we who we think we are also? Are we who we say we are to ourselves? The best way to answer this question is with radical congruence. If what you say and what you think is actually what you do, you're always going to be the person who is 100% who they say they are. The problem with saying things which you are not is that it actually spikes dopamine in a very similar way than if you were to achieve the thing. You're talking to your uncles about how you're going to have this huge business, just like I did, by the way, and you're telling all your friends, and you get this dopamine spike in your mind because of the visualization and the foreshadowing that you're doing, that you've already kind of achieved it. In the book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, the author, says that there is pretty much no difference between your subconscious mind visualizing something and it actually happening. Your brain responds to it in an almost identical way. The same neurons are being fired. So you get this dopamine peak because your brain perceives as you've already done the thing, and then you get this trough. When you should be leaning into action, you're not getting the dopamine which is supposed to catapult you into it. So in a nutshell, to increase your self-story is to promise less, not only to others, but even to yourself, and do more. Imagine someone who promises to themselves that they'll do 10 things. They put 10 things onto their to-do list and they fall short and they only do like 4 of them. Imagine someone else who only puts like 3 things onto their to-do list, but they're very, very important things, you know. There's no beating around the bush when doing them. Those are the things that will propel you forward in life. Now, you know, that person crosses them off quite fast because they only had 3 on, and they, you know, do 1 extra because they're already in the momentum of things. In this example, you actually got more done because you focused on the more important tasks and you promised less. So your self-story will be like, oh shit, we're actually more than we say we are because we've done more than we promised ourselves. When in the first example, this person pretended to be this hyper-productive entrepreneur, high achiever type shit, and they did pretty much nothing the whole day. But also this congruence chart of saying, thinking, and doing the same things begs the question, why even speak at all if you do what you think you'll do? What even is the point of bragging? If we are big in private, why big ourselves up in public? You know, the concept of bragging is a bit alien to me, not because I've never done it before in my life, but because I see no more value in it. Now, forgive this drawing. I don't know how to draw a sheep, I don't know how to draw a wolf, but it's always better to be a wolf in sheep's clothing rather than a sheep in wolf's clothing. Always better to be big and dumb yourself down to look like you're the rest of them, to be this tiny thing and blow yourself out of proportion and pretend to be someone you're clearly not. There's a reason the scary guys, the Italian mafia or the Russian mob always are so still and so calm and so steady. They're not really here to impress you. They can take you the fuck out if they have to in 3 seconds, but they don't have to show that. They're calm. They know who they are. And the biggest problem with impressing other people isn't only blowing yourself out of proportion, but rather it's that we all value different things, so we must do different things to impress different people. And please have an open mind when I'm saying this, because I know for a fact that me, a few years ago, wouldn't have taken this advice. If person A is interested in spending a lot of time with their family, their loved ones, running and making money, and person B is interested in building muscle in the gym, running and playing pickleball, they will have to do different things to impress each other. But since they both have running as a hobby or an interest in common, if they run, they not only get the respect of themselves, they get the respect of their peer as well. Now let's imagine person B is in a season of running. They are in a very, very good shape. They have an 8 out of 10 physique. They have a 7 out of 10 pickleball skill, but their running is kind of lagging behind. They've built themselves this huge physique and they really want to get a bit more athletic, a bit more fit, and they want to get their running up from a 6 to, let's say, a 9. Now person A might notice this, and since running is their hobby as well, they kind of get triggered when person B surpasses them. Even though they really don't need to focus on running right now because that's at 8 and the other things are at the 6 and the 5, they will focus on running just because it's making them insecure that this person is beating them at their own hobbies. It's me. I'm person A. In my example, going to the gym and bodybuilding was always like a hobby of mine. Well, not always, but in the past 5 years it has been. And right now, I know clearly that that's not really a priority of mine. But every single time I talk to someone and they have like a better split than I have, they're taking more supplements, they're on a more consistent regimen, and people are giving them more compliments, that takes a hit at my ego. And I start thinking that, oh shit, I should optimize, I should talk to ChatGPT to make sure that I have the correct health regimen and stupid shit like this, man. And until I realize that I'm playing an entirely different game, and just because some of it is like similar to this person's, we are not the same. This is what I need to focus on, and I need to be fucking straight with my priorities. So to make it a bit more clear, the worst thing you can do is live by someone else's priorities. You might have a complete fake external desire. You might have seen someone in the gym get a bunch of girls because they do calisthenics. They do planche push-ups and muscle-ups and shit like this. And that might have never been a desire of yourself. So you may not have had running here like person A did, and you still might have adopted it from someone else entirely. That's the worst case scenario, but I do imagine that we're a bit developed here when we don't really feel like this. But when a desire overlaps and we prioritize it in a wrong instance, that's also quite a misstep. So understand that true congruence comes in when you don't give a fuck anymore. And there's levels to not giving a fuck, by the way. You can not give a fuck in the sense that you'll say whatever you want to say, you'll do whatever you want to do, but there's also a level above that where you understand you only do things which you want to do. You might think you want to go on a season of bodybuilding, but is that coming from a place of insecurity? I don't know, I'm just saying my examples. There's such a big weight that gets alleviated and pushed off of your chest once you admit it to yourself, once you stop trying to be correct all the time. I also used to be praised a lot when I was a kid for being intelligent, and every single time someone asked me a question, I wanted to have the right answers.
You know, if every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing.
And this is why this Kanye clip hit me so hard. Focusing on having the answers for stuff that I'm not even interested in is clearly hindering my experience of life. Why am I judging myself based on shit that I don't even care about? If I just focused on locking into my priorities and doing the things which are actually important to me, then I would be so much further ahead. So the 4 rules of building unstoppable congruence and belief in yourself are as follows. Stop talking. The number 1 rule of Fight Club is to shut the fuck up. You will shut the fuck up from now on. Unless you're asked, you won't say it. The fact that you stayed so long in the gym is a W, but you don't have to tell others about it. You will only get weaker if you give your energy to other people. Number 2 is that you should only promise yourself things if you will actually do it. Never ever make fake promises to yourself. You remember, promise less, do more. That is how you develop congruence. Number 3 is becoming clear on exactly what you want. And I mean you. What do you want? Stop listening to all of these external sources, getting external desires latching onto your psyche like a fucking parasite. You're running around in circles completing laps of other people's desires. You're living as if you were someone else. And even in your desires, if they are yours, you have to make sure that you're prioritizing. Because if you're leveling up a skill that's 9 out of 10 to a 10, just because someone else you know is at a 10 and you're not the person getting the validation, grow the fuck up. And I'm kind of talking to myself here. I don't mean to be mean, but I really needed to hear these words. And finally, this final rule is what you should be taking away from this whole entire video. Never, ever, 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 ever lie. Not to yourself, not to other people. When you ran 4 kilometers, don't tell them that you ran almost 5. When you make yourself a promise, make sure you keep it. If you ever put anything into your brain and your brain asks itself the question, are we who we say we are? This is how the answer will become yes. And you won't procrastinate for 3 months just like I did. Maturing is realizing that bigging yourself up in public is not what it seems. It's actually the most counterproductive thing you can possibly do. Because the truth will eventually out. People will eventually learn if you're bullshitting or not. And as just a side note, it is so much more impressive to see someone actually be impressive than for them to just talk about it. So even if you're still doing it for validation and you're stuck in this mindset, it's still better for you not to talk about your shit. What we're building here is an undeniable stack of proof, so even next time you go into something, you'll be able to take it with you and be like, yes, I am who I am and I can do this. And even if you are not confident in the certain thing that we're talking about, you can take things from different endeavors with you. You can be like, yes, this is a hard thing, running this marathon, but I've been through this math competition, which was extremely hard. And although it was very, very different, I've done hard things before. And doing this, getting through it, will be no different. If you've made it this far, you're clearly not like other people. Most people have clicked off already. And there's no doubt in my mind that you will be successful and you will get what you deserve. This information is already enough, but if you want to speed up the process, I have a mentorship offer right now that I'm launching. I've just opened up a few slots in my calendar and you can book one of them to apply to become one of my one-on-one mentorship clients if that's something that interests you. What I offer is basically the lifestyle that you want to live. Is a lifestyle where being productive is effortless. You don't require discipline or motivation to work, where you truly align yourself to who you really are, from which point you can really detach from these modern fucking discipline and status games which people are playing on the internet. If that's something that interests you, then click the link below. Goodbye.